Into the action right now, though, Josh. Navi Junior versus Giants. They're taking centre stage here on Inferno. We talked about the map pool before. I think that Navi Junior slight favourites as we jump into this pistol.
Nice bit of aggression early on towards this banana area bit, clearing out all of these angles. That's so much information gained, but they already know what's up as Giants have blasted up short, and this is where the gunfights need to come through.
They absolutely do, and two quick kills right there. Fast fragging, and the USPSs can't really contest with the action as the bomb does go down on that A bomb site. Slight shakes and squabbles, but now this is where they have to get back into the running and, well, just trying to lock this one down. It's OBJ to try and hold the line. He's here firmly in the action, but cannot connect that first headshot. They're moving in, and the P250 cannot connect. They've got this crossfire primed and ready, but has Navi make their way inside? They're getting cut apart left, right, good night. It's fast frags, and they end the round. It's Giants with one.
Really wasn't expecting that to go their way after Navi Junior had taken those initial two frags. I thought that was going to be a retake. They could certainly tip over the edge. But those close range gunfights on that A site, the spam ability of the Glock really does add complications. So as we go into the second, Giants, they should be able to string another together. And Navi Junior, I'm not sure what they're going to be able to buy into this one.
Yeah, I don't think that they'll be able to buy too much. Obviously, you talk about in these sort of scenarios, obviously, you probably want to go for a force buy if you're losing the round on the CT side. You can go for the one eco. Obviously, 1-0 here for Giants. Good performance there on the A bomb site to lock it down in that 3 versus 5 scenario. Those are the scenarios right there that Navi Junior should be able to thrive. Those team play, precision angles. Obviously, looking to wrap up the scoreline sooner rather than later with the force.
Oh, just a short tech pause right now. We could play a game of who's left the server, but considering we talked so much about him in the pre-game, it's quite obvious when he's missing. Fox, he's just having a little tech problem. I'm sure he'll be back very shortly. And yeah, looking at the buy right here from Navi Junior, they've already fully invested, and we can talk about it. They've got the pistols. They've put Munacy on that for mass, and well, very limited utility, but they've made sure they've got those smoke grenades and a few flashes to work with. So they can use those smoke grenades to not only buy them some time, but actually buy them some space to work with as well. They get a smoke into maybe deep banana, they try and get a smoke somewhere towards middle, and they can start to take some control and get up close and personal with those pistols.
Yeah, I think that that's really interesting. I think that in these sort of rounds, you probably want to be going back to the drawing board and probably go for the force buy. I think that that probably is preferable here for Navi Junior, especially if you know that your opponents have got these slight tech issues as well. That might plague them going into round number 2. Obviously, you do want Fox to be in the roster. You want him to be here and feeling 100% as well. But at some point, an admin does put their foot down and say, right, get back into the server now. We go towards stand-ins and that pressure starts to be applied. We're definitely not at that point yet. You only left a couple of minutes ago. But as we get towards that sort of 10-15 minute mark, that's going to be kind of in the back of your mind. Obviously, 1-0, you're feeling good after that pistol round. Obviously, Fox wasn't the massive influential member there with Rizz and OBJ actually picking up the majority of the frags. Obviously, we talked about Rizz and how much experience he actually provides to the roster as well. I think that Giants is kind of Fox and Friends, if you want to use an American reference. I didn't want to go there, but that kind of seems what this team is. And
It
just like
does.
Fox and Friends, they show up first thing in the morning, and I'm sure they're talking garbage.
Oh, it does a little bit, doesn't it? And I mean, that's one of the pressures of online CS. When something does go wrong, there's no one there to help you. You've got to try and work it out, fix it yourself, and get back into the server before that pressure starts to mount. Obviously, at an event, which I'm sure Fox is a little bit more used to, they're not just going to get up and throw you off the stage if you're having tech problems. If there is a problem, it's more than likely the organizer's fault when it is
That's what I
a
want.
LAN event, and yeah, they'll fix it for you.
Our producer is called Big Vu, and I think Big Vu sounds like a bouncer. So I think if anyone's causing problems, we send Big Vu in and chuck him out.
Yeah, it'll get them out. I like that. I like that. Well,
Oh, go back into the action, Josh.
we are back into the action, and actually, round completely resets. Navi Junior have to go for that investment again, and they buy exactly what they had before. So that one for mass in play, the rest with the pistols. And as we get right back into this one, Giants, they're not sparing any expense right now. They've got all the rifles to work with. They don't want to go for those Mac 10s. They know that they're probably up against a force, and they need to play to their advantages and play these long-range gunfights.
They certainly do, and keeping that range, obviously, a prerogative. They don't have a lot of utility, though, as well. So thinking about when you get into these later game situations, that's where things get a little more difficult. Up against the Desert Eagles as well, you have to be aware of a crossfire towards the A bomb site. Navi Junior, they've got 3 players primed and ready, and a smoke down as well. Early utility usage means that that conservation for the later round isn't as good, and obviously going to have less utility going past the minute mark.
Definitely a much slower round number 2 as Giants. Well, they're giving their opponents the respect they deserve. They're slowly taking this control. And Navi Junior haven't been as aggressive as I was really expecting them to be. I was expecting them to use some of that utility to take some control, and instead they're playing it very, very passive indeed. That smoke is going to slow things down a little bit towards this B site, but Giants aren't committed yet anyway. They're going to fall back off of it. And Navi Junior, well, they're holding strong. Still that strong 3-2 setup, the crossfire towards the top of middle. This could be disastrous if Giants walk into it.
Yeah, Navi haven't moved an inch, and now falling back into more pass positions on this A bomb site. Obviously, as Giants encroach and encroach as the rotate not coming through. No information granted as PR wants to be the first man through. He's on highway, and Navi have no idea, creeping closer right towards this A bomb site, and now needs to check the corners against the CZ75. The famous nails too, as Navi Junior find a pair of shots. There's another headshot before he goes down. But with 10 seconds remaining on this clock, Fox, nopeej, they're going to get the bomb down, and Giants should be solidifying themselves a 2-0 lead against the Desert Eagles. It's not like Topper and Gabacho won't want to go into this one, but it is oh so difficult. Reload from nopeej. He's stuck inside a mini pit. The chickens are causing a nuisance. He wants to fry both of these final CTs alive, and maybe there's a chance that they don't even really want to go for this one. The low HP means it was a possibility, but we're watching this game through rose-tinted goggles, Jay. They don't know that.
Absolutely, yeah. When you've got 2 players low like that, those Deagles do become very, very deadly. But Navi Junior won't necessarily know how much damage they've dealt, and also with no kit, there's no real chance of them winning the round. So even if they do find those frags, it won't make all too much difference. 2-0 now for the Giants. I really was expecting that round to come a little bit closer towards the end after that opening 2K from m0NESY and that time ticking away towards that A bomb site. I really did expect Navi Junior to pull a little bit more into that one towards the end, but unfortunately for them, the Giants, they just find all of those trades and they hold on to it quite nicely. Here in the third, very, very little investment around the 2 Deagles that were saved, so it is just going to be a clean sweep round, more than likely, for the Portuguese side, and it'll be Navi Junior with a full investment to contest in the next.
Well, that's a lovely shot from the Desert Eagle to start things off. Proficient there from Capacho as he nails the headshot. He's one of the 2 players on this side with the body armor as well. So the 2 Danger Man, him and Topper, need to do the majority, that lion's share of the damage, because the USPSs, I hate to say it, Josh, but they're probably not going to do too much here as Giants creep and crawl on towards mid. They still want to keep the range advantage, of course. Even with the AK-47s in a Deagle battle, you've obviously got those spray advantage. You can just pop all of the bullets on through. And it looks like this bomb is finally going towards the B bomb site. Navi, they're nicely set up for this one. Of course, you have got that double set piece configuration on the A bomb site. That's Capacho and Gospodarov holding down the angle. And with m0NESY waiting for this flashbang through the smoke. It's the only utility on the server, and it will go down. Fast frag, and m0NESY now tries to trade. It's not successful against the AKs. It leaves only the Desert Eagle remaining. It's Topper versus the world. As they encroach, they approach, and that goes the bomb down. I think this should be a plant. And a round secured, wrapped up from the Giants, 3-0, I'm sure.
And Navi Junior really, really relying on Topa there to go big with the Deagle to hold up that B site, but that's just something that happens once in a blue moon, and you really, really can't be banking on it. Capacho, at this kind of range, when his position's known, isn't going to be able to do a whole lot more, and I think he might actually just fall away, try and hold on to this Deagle again. There's no point in just completely throwing it in the bin. Gospodarov, I can't imagine he's going to be able to do a whole lot here either. I think he'll just provide support if the T do decide to push into CT, try and help out his teammate, but instead he's just going to be staying alive. He'll try and snatch away that Deagle and do some damage of his own. But it's a really nice start here on Inferno from the Giants. 3-0 lead. They've kept several players alive in each of these rounds too. So a really, really good chance for them to rack up this money and rack up this momentum here on Inferno.
Exactly, and being 3-0 to start as well, I think that Giants are going to be feeling great about this. Obviously, they're slight underdogs coming into this one, and Navi Junior back foot before they get into the rifle round. It's all M4A4s. Gasparov, that favoured AWP. We talked about his AWP potential previously in this series over in the pre-game, and now he's got that sniper in hand. He's watching it down the middle of the map, and spots out a shoulder, doesn't connect.
Very, very close, but not quite finding it. Gospodarov, he's the only man with the AWP in the server. Giants, that's something they have to be wary of. A map like Inferno, a lot of dangerous angles to be facing up against that scoped rifle. But once again, it's just this default. Feeling around for this information, trying to catch out anyone getting aggressive. 2 men towards these A apartments. 3 taking that banana control initially. And Navi Junior, so far, since the pistol, haven't contested it whatsoever. There's really 2 ways to play that B-bomb site. You either play it passive, you use your utility, you keep your opponents at an arm's length, or you take all the gunfights towards banana and face the fact that if you lose them, the round might be over in a matter of seconds. Very much looking like Giants are going to go for a B hit here with 50 seconds on the clock. There's only 2 men to hold the line.
And that's where things get difficult here. Clock down to 40, and Topper holding the angle first. Held at bay by a smoke are the Giants. And here comes the wrap and rotate from Munacy as well. I feel like Navi Junior have this one read like a book. And he's got the Emperor A1S to actually watch down the angle. And with that Molotov placed as well, that'll actually make the smoke bounce in the wrong direction most of the time. But it lands perfectly. Topper doesn't get traded. He's at the back of this B-bomb site to find all 3. Giants ball. It's only no beats remaining. And the clock is ticking down. And he's not finding these frags. He gets finished as well by Topper. What a performance.
That is actually a massive, massive hold-up. As soon as his teammate falls there, you know that it all rests on his shoulders. And to swing out and find a 4K, in fact, his first 4 kills of the game so far, is a really, really big time to step up. Put Navi Junior on the board and give them a fantastic opportunity to claw this gap back early on before it starts to get out of hand. Giants, of course, go for another investment. Rizz down to that Mac 10. Everybody else on the rifles. Limited utility to work with. Zegno up the pace a little bit here. Rizz playing to his advantages, taking that first gunfight with the Mac 10, and he is going to win it before being traded. So 4 versus 4, minute 30 on this clock, and Giants might play off the back of it.
Oh, that's a very snappy headshot from Topper as he doubles up the damage towards the banana area. And Giants captain an arm's length. As soon as Navi Junior have had rivals in their hands, this has been such a change of pace. Should be a 2-3, and nopeej, he's the last man remaining versus 4 opponents. He's got the AK-47 primed and ready, but that angle is so sensational from Topper. He hits the instant headshot. He's obviously feeling confident on that B-bomb site defense.
Oh, he really is. Back-to-back 4Ks? I don't think you can ask for a whole lot more than that, especially in buy rounds. Finally, Giants back to basics. Really no money to work with here, so I think it's just going to be a couple of pistols in the investment. That's exactly what they go for. Massive firepower advantage for the Navi Junior side, as they do actually look to tie things up and should almost certainly be able to do so. Gospodarov just narrowly missing that one. Not going to miss the second, as he is hungry for frags right now.
Certainly is, and this is where he plays his best Counter-Strike, Joshua, when he's getting aggressive with that AWP and finding those opening frags, and when he doubles it up towards the A-bomb site, and Giants just with the pistols, they are going to get crushed in this one. Of course, this was a half buy, obviously wanting a full force in the next. Those AK-47s can come out, so no need to sweat about this one. But that will wrap up the scoreline and give Navi Junior a good foothold into this one. As Gasparov finds 3 frags there. The Desert Eagle finds the only success for Giants in this round. And that AWP is very easily retrievable as well at the expense of the M4.
With all those AKs being carried across too, Navi Junior are starting to look scary here in round number 7. The AWP, all the rifles to work with, that one-hit headshot potential in the hands of a man like Munacy and a player like Topa, who has been hitting shots in these past couple of rounds. Giants, they do go for another full investment. This time it's only the AKs all round. And once again, limited utility, a real lack of Molotovs and HE grenades. None of that offensive utility that you really need to flush out these precarious angles that you see on both bomb sites here on Inferno.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that CT side is really where you kind of put up the bulk of your rounds most of the time. I think it really depends on the teams, right? Obviously, this Giants Navi Junior roster, I think that you're expecting the T side to be the brute force of this one, but Navi Junior putting together a successful performance. And that's always a dangerous sign, right? If, yeah, you lose the pistol round, but as soon as you get the rifles in hand, you're looking pretty dominant. And that's when things can really start to swing in your favor. And I think that that's maybe where we're going with this one. 5 AK-47s for Giants coming into this. Already aggressive banana control for Navi.
I really like the way Navi are actually playing this banana control. I talked before about the two ways you can manage it, and kind of mixing and matching between the two makes you very, very unpredictable. And Giants is going to be a difficult task to actually get back into banana. Just this really aggressive stance taken from Topa. It's going to gain loads and loads of information. As that smoke starts to dissipate, he's going to throw HE in and fall away. It's going to do a fair amount of damage too. And all that is just running down that clock, getting information and applying pressure to your opponents, which Navi Junior so far are doing superbly.
Yeah, and the big question for me is obviously Gasparov, he's the in-game leader for this Navi Junior side. He's the man who's going to be calling over those rotates, which have been very proficient, and we might see it once again as well with Arch Control. Yeah, fully in Munacy's favour. He is that floating voter who's going to be the first man over towards the B bomb site if needed, and you always want to put one of your pivotal players in those positions, whether it be Bit, whether it be Munacy, somebody who knows how to find those frags. As Giants execute towards B, there goes a Molotov, and that's going to delay things very, very far. And there's still an incendiary grenade in hand for Topper as well, Josh. So watch this clock, because as we tick down to 20, Giants, they're going to have to walk right through the flames as they don't have any smokes to put out this fire. Quick kill from the AK as Topper does fall back to the B bomb site. Good position, second kill, flashbang assist. As they're getting cut apart right now, surely doesn't get the bomb down with Topper still alive, and this is time over.
No money here for Giants, and Bit, well, he's not able to snatch away one more frag just before that clock expires. But Navi Junior, that is such a fantastic round. Topa holding up that line once again, and just the utility usage is flawless there from Navi Junior. They hold on to those Molotovs until right at the end. They run down that clock, apply that pressure further and further and further, and then 6 flashes still in play right at the end means that they can just bombard their opponents right when they have to push in. Giants, once again, they're going for a force buy here, but there's really not a lot to work with as Gospodarov opens things up early.
And that's what he's been doing the majority of the time, Josh, with that AWP finding those aggressive shots. And once again, he's posted on the angles to deal with the Giants as they come through, even if it's just pistols and a couple of AKs.
Just picking apart their opponents right now, and this is starting to look really, really dangerous. Of course, this is Giants' map pick, and we talked about the fact that Navi Junior are very, very proficient on all 3 maps, but definitely the second and third. So if they can snatch away Inferno, Giants are in for a hell of a ride if they want to try and pull it all the way back. And OBJ here in the 8th. He's gone back, he's taken that C4, only with this Deagle to work with, not a lot of health points either. Really just hoping that he can find 2 crazy frags and get this C4 planted, but there's no way that's going to happen. Topa is too crispy today, and he's going to rip his head clean off. Navi Junior now leading by 2. I'm not sure what they're going to be faced up against here in the 9th.
Yeah, it might be Black Friday, Josh, but he's getting no bargain deals on the B bomb site there. No bomb plant, no extra cash for his pocket. It's 5-3 for Navi as the rifles out for both teams. Mac 10 in hand for OBJ. Looking good for Navi, though, as they solidify not just this full buy, but the money behind them as well.
Once again, this banana control. Something that Giants just aren't even going to contest. They know that they really don't have an advantage if they do try and push through that smoke. So instead, they're going to allow Topa all of that leg room and instead just press towards middle and A. Over towards top brackets. Completely uncontested from Navi Junior once again. This is kind of this approach that they're going for. If they get aggressive and take control towards banana, then they play very passive on A and vice versa. If Gospodarov's going for the mid pick, they play passive on B. But right now, very much looking like they are going to have to contend with this A push. The bomb is still miles away, though.
It absolutely is. And if the AK-47's not connecting, Gaspadarov certainly won't make that mistake. Goes in for the double dip. Secondary peek doesn't find anything. He doesn't even spot a player, but right behind this Molotov, he finds the perfect angle. That's Gaspadarov's second. It's Giants. Their push looks so disjointed, so uncoordinated, and it's being broken down. Fast frag from rizz, but I think that might be all she wrote for this 9th round. He gets naded to pieces, back to 7 HP. Might be able to tap in this C4 here, as that Molotov's not going to do all too much, and there's a headshot to try and capitalise. He wants to nail both of these final players, but cannot connect those shots. It's Gaspadarov to finish things off. Him and Topper, it's 6-3.
I really don't understand why rizz was so far away from the action. It was clearly a hit over towards the top of mid. There was no men towards the apartments. There was no distraction towards B. He just had that C4 and he had to go and support his teammates. But instead, as you say, just disjointed. They're pushing into long. They go completely untraded. And Navi Junior, they're able to just mop the floor. Giants, they've lost 6 in a row. And this loss bonus just isn't doing anything for them. What are they
No,
going
it
to buy
absolutely
here?
isn't. It's like a silver lining at the end of the day. They'll almost certainly buy. I think that's what they've been doing the majority of the time. I would be very surprised if we don't see the investment.
There we go. I just saw that clock ticking away and no one going for any kind of investment whatsoever. I'm interested to see if they do pull an AWP out. They seem to just be running these 5 rifles. Definitely viable on this T side, but it does mean that you can get punished and picked apart by Gospodarov with no one really there to contest. Limited utility once again for the Giants side, but they're expending what they have early just to try and keep Navi Junior at an arm's length.
I've got an idea, Josh. Since it's Black Friday, maybe they should make the AWP like $15.
$15 and just have Counter Strike as just a complete mosh pit for a day.
Yeah, just for the day.
Yeah, everyone buying AWPs in pistol round. Everyone would just buy an AWP every round, wouldn't they?
Yes, yeah. We know that it would be an absolute mess. Maybe that's what they do. They just reduce the prices of the guns for the day. We have absolute chaos. They bring the old revolver back. They make that $10 as well. And we just have at it. Have that.
That sounds more like The Purge than Black Friday. It just sounds like anarchy. Yeah. I'm not sure you should be calling the shots at Valve.
The Purge, of course, the movie with the worst trailer to actual movie ratio in history. Best trailer ever, worst movie ever.
Is that a personal remark or is that an actual thing that...
You could go to the squidmoviereviews.com that it doesn't exist.
Well, right now, look at this disjointed play once again. They're pushed into this B site, but the bomb's gone into top mid and fallen. So despite the fact that Giants have taken loads of control, they have nothing to work with. They have to charge back. And with 15 seconds on this clock, the round's donezo. It's still in contention in terms of the numbers, but they've got no time to retrieve this bomb. And they are just going to have to walk straight into the blender. Just another massive misplay from this Portuguese side. Sometimes you kind of think, oh, that was calculated and it just didn't work out. But I don't know what went wrong there. That didn't go their favour whatsoever.
No, it certainly didn't. And I think that we're seeing the difference in styles here. Navi Junior, they've obviously come into this one prepared. You see those crossfires on the A bomb site that Giants are just failing to contend with? And I think already 10 rounds in, we're seeing the better team really pull ahead here. And I don't even think they're just slight favourites, Josh. They look like they're much better team. With Gaspadarov not just leading the pack, but leading the frags on this server. They are looking very confident and dominant getting into round number 11 onto the lion's share of this half. Where is the tactical timeout though, Josh? It's been so long and Giants just haven't taken the break of pace.
Well, they're going to have to blitz into this B-bomb site and try and get something done. They have found that first, and the dink onto Capacho is actually going to force him right back. Rotations coming through. So a 4 versus 4 retake. Firepower obviously massively in the side of Navi Junior. And with these digits being tapped in, oh, they're hot on their heels. This is going to be a bloodbath with a minute left on the clock.
Certainly should be. Bomb down. AWP for Capacho now. Bogdan's Law, obviously low HP player. You want to take the sniper. They're going to pull all the way through towards OBJ, but they need to flash this angle first. There goes him blind, and 3 frags for Navi. They've done it. That's a retake, and just about as flawless as it gets.
Yeah, really, really swift. Not even losing a man. Barely losing any HP, in fact. And Well, Gozpadarov, he has been sensational. Of course, we talk about the fact that, yeah, he's leading the charge, he's finding these frags, but it's so important that to actually recognize the fact that even in these buy rounds from the Giants, he's been peaking mid, he's been finding that opening pick every single time. And on a map like Inferno, that's something that you definitely see towards the middle of the map. Going on to Dust 2 in the third, if we come to it, is certainly another map where you do have that sight line in mid and you can do early damage with that AWP. You can take those opening fights. Here in the 12th, it's going to be the first time the Giants do pull out one of those big green scoped rifles in the hands of Fox, of course. And let's see if he can actually contend with Gozpadarov. I think he's had enough. I think he realizes that it's about time he tries to give Gozpadarov a run for his money.
Yeah, and this is what Fox is most known for, remember, that AWP, that flashy, flary AWPing. Usually on this Giants roster, we see OBJ holstering the sniper rifle. Maybe not on the T side of Inferno, though. That's a bit of a discomfort pick for most snipers in the game. Fox, he says no, some of his most vintage performances have been on this very side of the map. Nice nade there onto rizz, but only minimal damage dealt.
A lot of bullets exchanged early, not a lot of damage. PR is already right through mid, and that's going to be an invitation for his teammates to join in. They realise that once again it's completely uncontested. Navi Junior, they've got in that utility early. They've kind of made their presence known and then fallen away. And what a fast flick from Gozpadarov once again.
That's what he's been doing every single time, Josh, and once again providing the goods, delivering Amazon Prime, first class perhaps, as he does with that second shot, but the AK-47's there to pick up the pieces. 3 versus 3, as that's another shot from the AK-47. Quick retort from the Giants. They have this A bomb site totally under wraps as Bit falls. He's supposed to be the best player on this roster. It's had a bit of a close series so far, as top fragger as well needs to do the rest. Fast bullets inwards, doesn't find the shot, damage dealt, and the nade whips. That could have been massive, Josh. Quick inwards, that would have been damage. It would have been a money nade at the end of the day. As Topper walks into the crossfire, it is PR to take him down. That's Giants' fourth, but their first round in the last 9.
Of course, you do expect them to take 3 off the back of the pistol. That's exactly what they did. Besides that, they've had a very weak half so far. And with all the cash in the bank saved up from Navi Junior, they're going to be able to fully reinvest here into the 13th. And if they can just bounce it right back, then Giants have certainly got problems on their hands because they won't have a lot behind them. We could definitely be looking down the barrel of a 10-5 half. This really has to be a turning point for them. They really want to be trying to take this one maybe 8-7 to really feel comfortable going into that defensive side.
Yeah, and finding Munity towards mid for the first time. He wanted to play that more aggressive position instead of towards Arch where Gozpadarov is holding. He falls first, that weakens the A bomb site and gives Giants some options.
Bit now, a little bit isolated here as his teammate smoked off, needs to fight his way out the corner, and well, he's only good for a 1-for-1 trade. Not terrible, but leaves his teammate all alone on the site. Gozpadarov needs to hit all these shots, misses the second, flick, lands the no-scope, can't convert on a third, of course, but brings it into a 2-on-2 in a very doable situation for his teammates, as they don't know what's up. This bomb's actually gone all the way around to B. This is a funky play from Giants.
Certainly so, and Fox can create an aggressive stance towards the CT spawn, and it looks like Navi Junior still don't really have any idea that it's playing towards the B bomb site. They can't hear that bomb ticking, and they're still going to try and execute onto A. This is a massive mistake, a gargantuan mistake, Josh. Do they still not know that the bomb's down on the B bomb site? They've only just realized, Josh, and it's far too late, of course. It's about to explode. They actually went for some sort of execute onto A there. I don't know if that was just a mistake on their part, and they didn't realize it. Obviously, they knew that nopeej was there from earlier on in the round, so maybe they were just trying to find him. But that really did look like an execute there, and maybe just a somewhat of a mistake, knowing that nopeej was, behind those smokes. Obviously, he went back to the B bomb site, expecting them to go through this CT spawn.
Yeah, definitely a weird one. A round that they certainly could have picked up, but instead, Giants, they just outplay and outposition their opponents, and Navi Junior, they're left scratching their heads. I'd have loved to see that from their perspective, just executing into an empty bomb site and then getting onto it and just being quite confused, dazed as to where their opponents have gone. Nice bit of aggression towards mid. This is the first time we've seen Bit take a stance like this, and he opens up beautifully. 2 quick kills to start off proceedings. And Navi Junior looking like they're back in the driver's seat here in the 14th.
Yeah, they certainly do, and it's all off the back of this aggression, a change of pace and fast shots from Bit. He's finally woken up in the series. Finally, the AWP chips through, but he needs all 5 here, Josh. It's OBJ versus the world, and this is only to secure Giants' 6th round in the half. Obviously, bomb retrieved, but this C4 surely shouldn't go down on the B bomb site against a crossfire of players. They've even got Gasparov's AWP watching and waiting on the cross. It's OBJ to try and do the damage, but I do not see this one happening. He's not got a smoke to count away this AWP. I'm sure that he's just going to be open. It'll be a firing range to Gasparov here. Oh, quick kill does get traded. That is a 9th, though. As the AWP does drop in there, it's retrieved.
Yeah, it is going to go right back in the hands of Gospodarov, as we've talked plenty of times this game about just how impactful he's been with that scoped rifle. Here in the final of the half, of course, Giants, they have to invest everything that they can. And to be honest, that's not a whole lot. A couple of Galils, that Mac 10 in the hands of rizz. They have got the utility to work with, of course, but they've been struggling to take these rounds with all the guns to work with. Right here, with this limited firepower, Navi Junior, they're just going to try and mop the floor as they get aggressive towards Banana. They're going to have all of the information to work with.
Yeah, with the nade on through to start off proceedings, Bit Gasparov, they are here primed and ready. AWP in hand as well, so full firepower as PR creates the clamp. He's coming in from the left side as he's moving it around. Fast kills once more. Gasparov's still alive though towards the pit, and it's fast bragging to leave just PR remaining in the 1 versus 3. Finally plucking away the sniper as he wants to go down and retrieve this one. He knows he's got no chance of getting the job done with just a Galil in hand. So picking up this AWP to get the job done. It's top to hold this angle, and surely he's dead to rights as he makes the peak. It's 10-5 Navi.
What a half. Especially after going 3-0 down, as you lose the pistol, it can be very, very difficult to actually recover it the way they did and have such a dominant lead at that halfway point. But they do so, and they do so beautifully. Pistol round might be enough to seal the fate of the Portuguese side if Navi Junior can tip it over the edge, especially if they can follow through with it too. But look at the frags. Gospodarov 17-9 here on the server. And if he can continue that aggressive AWPing on this T side too, I think that we might be in for a short series. Giants, they really, really need to recover this one nicely.
Exactly, and this is what I was talking about Navi Junior on that. Just on Inferno in general, I think it's a really powerful map for them. I think that Dust 2 and Inferno kind of lead quite similarly, Vertigo in many senses as well. And coming into this pistol, they want to create the wrap on the A bomb site against the triple defense. CZ75 finds the majority of the damage there as Fox plucks in for another one. He's still roaming around like the fox he is. Surely taken down. He finds another shot before falling as Capaccio's doing the rest. A 1 versus 2 for the USPS, and he does get double peaked there by the Giants. That's their second pistol round taken. They've taken both.
Yeah, definitely a strong point for them. That's evident. With those pistols in hand, they seem to just be able to land those headshots. And Navi Junior, it's definitely something to work on. If it becomes consistent throughout this series, losing those pistols can really be a game changer, especially in matches that are much closer. Gives your opponents a huge, huge advantage. Here in the 17th on this T side, they're not going to opt for a force buy whatsoever. Just go for this full eco. They know that they'll have a healthy buy in the next. But it does just mean that they've only got these Glocks to work with, single P250 as they head towards B. And wait for this to just be a complete mowdown.
Yeah, this will be a rattle away, a rattle battle. M4s, they're ready. There's lots of time on the board, but I don't think that Navi's going to be able to do too much here. There's the Glock for the first as well, and you saw the pre-fires there. That was actually a burst from the Glock. Is PR, oh, he is chipping and chiming away the rest. He wants to go for all of these frags right now, and there's no bomb plant for Navi Junior there. Nice fast rotate from the Giants, obviously. They were kept at bay by that incendiary grenade, and Navi Junior, they don't get the big reward at the end of it.
Well, moderately successful rounds. They do find themselves 2 kills on a full eco, but As you say, they wanted to find those 2 kills and get that bomb plant down before the rotations came in, and that was just not a luxury that they were granted. Still leading by 3, but definitely need to try and extend it a little bit further before Giants close this gap fully. Nades thrown early, not really going to do a whole lot of damage. That one down middle does onto Gospodarov. And Navi Junior just spreading around this map, not committing to anything early on, not trying to forcefully take any control. They're just going to run this clock down and feel around for where the Giants are playing because they don't want to let this one slip away. They've got the rifles in hand. They need to play much more disciplined, passive CS.
Exactly. And on this CT side, that's really what you need to do at the best of times, of course. Famus ready, everybody else all around, and 70 seconds left for Navi Junior to play with, and they're very comfortable using every second of this clock, knowing that even if it gets to the 20-second mark, they can create these flanks. Obviously, that smoke looks like a little bit of a fake here. The bomb still isn't committed.
It does make you wonder, by the time that bomb actually wraps its way round to B, that smoke's of course going to have faded. So you do expect this one to be a fake, but with no control towards this A bomb site, it does start to worry me. 40 seconds left on this clock. This time pressure really starting to mount. And it's looking like they are just going to push into A blind. They've got all of the utility to work with. And Fox now knows what's up. He's going to call the rotation. And 30 seconds to tick. Navi Junior need to find these headshots.
Yeah, not a lot of time on the board either. Quick incendiary grenade does get smoked off. Navi Junior had that one in the reserve, and they still haven't spotted out rizz with that MP9 from the apartments. Fast frag trace to the AK-47, and Giants, they're shoving this one down. This has been a CT affair since the start, but Navi Junior just cannot break inside, and now they have to ponder saving. It's 3 seconds remaining on the board, and they need to keep this money alive. They've got nothing to work with going into the next.
Yeah, if anything, actually saving these rifles has really polarized their economy moving forward. And I would actually suggest probably for these 3 remaining players to try and force something around these rifles just so that it does even out this money. Otherwise, in the next round, those 3 guys are going to have enough for a full investment, and Gospodarov and Topa will be picking at straws to try and get themselves an SMG or maybe a Galil with that loss bonus that they will have, of course. Navi Junior, they're not looking as comfortable here on their T side, and Giants quite the opposite.
Yeah, they've finally woken up as well, but remember this is all off the back of the pistol round. That follow-up rifle round there is actually only the second that they've taken this entire map. You need to remember that T side for Giants was incredibly weak, and they are now on the path backwards into this series. Remember, this is their pick. They've obviously gone for somewhat of a comfort pick here. Obviously feeling like that CT side is going to be beneficial to them. And with Navi, it's also a comfortable map for them as well. We can see what they can do on the T side here with those AKs taking very little damage right at the start of the affair. 1 minute remaining, and Giants, they are holding incredibly past positions. This is tough, though, for a CT side, because it means that Navi Junior can actually execute. All of those smokes can go down when they have them. Of course, it's only one flash in smoke in play here for round number 19. But the majority of the time, those smokes and mollies can go down and force you out of positions, especially if you're playing into pit, which can be very tough to hold on to.
Well, as you see those little dots dance around the map, you really do hope that Navi Junior push into A right in these closing moments. But it's actually Topa just to create a convincing fake, keep that Arch guy busy as his teammates are about to push into this B site, and they've got not a lot of time to do so.
They absolutely don't. And up against the M4s here, the crossfire established for all 4 of those opening frags. It leaves Topper against absolutely everybody. A couple of consolation frags there, but still hasn't spotted out the rest. Oh, quick kill. Bomb can now go down, but he has quite literally only 6 HP to work with. Barely anything here for him, as this would be worth the 11th round, and he's unable to close it out. So hard to achieve against AKs, of course. When they're picked up by the CT side, they're incredibly powerful.
Well, certainly a valiant attempt. Got me onto the edge of my seat. 3 snappy headshots. Warrants them a bomb plant as well. That's certainly going to give them enough money to fully invest into this next one. That was cheeky. I like that there from Topa. Obviously, not quite enough, though, to actually grant them the round. And now we're within 1 of this scoreline being level. Giants really finding their footing here on this CT side. And interestingly, Fox still AWPing over towards B, even on this CT half. He is looking like he is just going to pick this one up throughout the entirety of Inferno.
Oh, sat in that Molotov until he was burning alive. We had a Fox barbecue, and I don't know if that's too tasty, M&J. I think I prefer chicken, beef, pork. You ever had a Fox barbecue?
No, no, definitely,
Bit of
definitely
roadkill.
not. Yeah, yeah, I've hit a fox before, but
How did
no,
that
never
go?
barbecued it. I was on the way home from playing snooker. It was very alarming. I didn't like it. I felt very bad.
Did you hit the Fox?
No, I was in the car with someone that hit the fox.
Okay. And the Fox didn't survive on 3 HP, though, just to make sure.
The fox didn't survive on 3 HP. The fox was gonzo.
The Fox was firmly on 0 HP.
Yeah, I reckon, yeah.
Well, this is definitely looking like a Giants affair right now. This will likely be 10 to 10, and Navi Junior getting absolutely nothing done in the first five on the T side. They're about to push into the A bomb site. Topic of Spadarov probably don't want to save these AK-47s through. With 30 seconds left to play with, if they can find some opening frags now, especially with the flashbangs placed, then this could be doable. But Fox hits actually the cross shot in the meantime. That was a big amount of damage onto Topper, and playing at the back of this A bomb site is a very hard angle to hold when you're on such little HP. He's going to establish it anyway, and if he can connect one headshot, then maybe he gives Gaspadarov a chance against the low HP Fox and the rest of the pack. He's obviously only got 8 HP to work with, and Topper likewise needs to hold this one away. Push about to come through. There's the Molotov. Whiffs sensationally. That's actually into the pit. So wanted to clear out those angles, and it's all down to Gaspadarov, who nailed those first two headshots snappy sensationally, leaving just Fox remaining. He's got the AWP and does connect the shot, but I'm sure he might not have enough time here. Fast frag, but I think he might just have it, M&J. Quick defuse for 10.
What a clutch for him to pick up, because Padarov was looking like he was about to pull off an absolute masterclass, even with that automatic rifle in hand, but just couldn't finish off the job against a Fox that was on a mere 3 points of health. He plays it perfectly, just crouched behind that box, not showing his position, and then a snappy flick to finish off proceedings. That's going to be level pegging.
In those moments, Gaspadarov, he could find 2, 3, 4 kills, but at the end of the day, what does the Fox say? That's the big question.
Wow.
We got 4 best of 3s today, M&J.
All right, I'll strap in. I'll put my seatbelt on, but that's certainly something I haven't heard anyone say for 3 or 4 years.
A blast from the past as we're coming out of 2020. I think that 2021 is going to be more like 2014. I think we close down TikTok and go back to Vine.
Yeah. I don't think I can deal with that kind of nostalgia. It gets me sad thinking about like old times. Gets me sad. Makes me
You old enough
realize
to have used MSN?
I am, yes.
Yeah. MSN, that's the old days. Well, new play in action, and Navi Junior, this does seem very disjointed. Navi's going to find the majority of those frags, but Navi Junior do trade, albeit a little bit late. Bomb can now go away, and they're low on HP on a couple of members. You see that Fox wants to prod through that angle on the corner of the smoke, and realistically, this is going to be difficult to get back into with only one smoke in hand. Plenty of flashbangs, though, as another Molotov goes down from the Navi Junior side. That was actually retrieved off the floor as well, so putting that utility to the best advantage as they want to stretch this to a one-round advantage. Bomb is very far ticked, and Giant have moved into this one incredibly slowly, and it's right between the crossfires, getting completely cut to pieces. rizz needs all 3, and he's only good enough for the first there.
Well, a much nicer round there from Navi Junior. It does really feel like they've been struggling to find these opening picks, which is interesting because on the CT side, it was something that they were very, very, very consistent with. Every single round, it seemed to be Gospodarov finding those openers or Topa towards B, taking control and finding that opening man. Here on this T side, they seem to take the early casualties and then they're on the back foot trying to pick up the pieces in the late round. And it really seemed like in round 21 there, that was the first time they were actually able to tip one over the edge. I'll add a little bit of a freebie here, perhaps, in the 22nd, as they've somehow broken the economy of the Giants, despite them winning 5 in a row. And yeah, just up against the pistols. A couple of deagles to work with, nice bit of aggression, but Topa seems to be fully aware of it.
And that all just comes down to these rounds being so damn close.
Yeah, I mean, especially that one versus one that Fox tipped over the edge, it really does chip away that economy. And especially on that CT side where those weapons just cost a little bit more. Plus, you got to pay more for those incendiary grenades. You got to pay an extra $400 for that diffuse kit. Things just start to mount and get expensive. And yeah, having to reinvest every single round does mean that one round loss will force you back down to those pistols and give Navi Junior another step closer to the finish line. And at such a late stage in the game, that's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, it certainly is. You probably want to be keeping the engagements fairly even. And, well, with the clock ticking down, Navi, they can just watch and wait, bomb away, and very convincing round here. They don't lose the AKs. And that money is going to stay buoyant going into the next as they get themselves onto 12. I like the Giants thing, go for the force spy to be perfectly honest, but doing no damage means that Navi will have that buffer to work with. That's actually an ace from Capacho. Fast frags there. Obviously getting from 7 to 12 kills. I think he needed those kills, Josh, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I think that they just feel good frags, aren't they? When you're not having the best of games, you have a round like that, you get pumped. I know that I would if I was in this situation. Giants, they do go for another investment, but it's certainly not the healthiest of buys. Rifles, real lack of utility. Nopeej just down to that MP9. And Navi Junior, they might have just been given that little morale boost that they really felt they needed. That Molotov not going to do a whole lot onto bits. He smokes it instantly. And Giants, whilst trying to take this banana control, certainly might get punished for doing so. And that's Nopeej gone. And the trade's coming through in the favour of the T's.
Exactly. 3 versus 3. That spreads the defense, remember, and always favors that Navi Junior side as they seem to have found a second wind here on the T side. It's all down to the AK-47s as well. We've not even seen Gaspadorov's AWP massively come into play this half at all. And 70 seconds left to play with. They've slowed down the pace, and now they want to head into the double defense on the A bomb site, which might actually be difficult. Obviously, rizz and OBJ are taking this one aggressively, and as they spot the smoke, they will know now that there's apps control taken. And Topper clearing these angles needs to hit one headshot, but doesn't. It's the AWP to find the frag instead. And that is a big frag for rizz to find as he wants to double dip into the middle of the map. He gets visual onto the bomb and he knows what's going on. It's Navi to be stuck in their tracks here. They don't even know if they can go back towards the B bomb site here. And knowing the PR's now 12 HP, this is certainly the better option here for Navi. Capacho, first man through, flash bang on as well. As realistically, PR needs to just stay alive, Josh, for as long as possible. And finding that frag is just the cherry on top. Both kills, denies the bomb. And Navi, that should have been a freebie, but it absolutely wasn't. Round within one.
Giants play that one absolutely flawlessly in that final 3v3 situation. Just feeling around for that information, that double man aggression towards short on A as well. Just really, really incredible stuff. And 3 men alive can be such an awkward number on that CT side, especially on a map like Inferno where the rotations are so long, because it means you have to play this 2-1 setup and your B-man can become very, very vulnerable. So just going for those jump spots, and then as soon as he spots out a man, falls right away and calls the reinforcements is definitely the way to play it. Nice bit of damage done early on through that smoke, but, well, an even better response from Monacy to rip Nopeej's head off right off and give Navi Junior this man advantage.
How is Nopeej even dead right now?
I don't know. Dead through the smoke. Just boop. See ya.
That was a jumping shot through a smoke, top of banana. Nobody saw it coming.
I definitely didn't see it coming. I mean, they were spamming through the smoke. So those bullet tracers, especially when you're not using that M401S, become very, very evident. And you can just pop right through it and find those kills. So another one coming through. Very nice shot there from Gozpadarov. That's certainly going to give them some legroom to work with over towards B.
Yeah, now they've thrown that AWP over towards Monacy as well. That was a blind shot, all off the timing. And as you're not an AWPer, you might find those timing pickups a lot harder to deal with. And with rizz ready and waiting, he's the only defense. Does damage, no kill. It's the smoke to go down to try and delay, but Navi, they should be going right on through right now, and they do. There's a big gap in this one. Fox is here in the meantime. Again, a double defense here, as Fox does spray down the first, and rizz is there to pick up the pieces. Fox with even more, and this is a shutdown, M&J. 20 seconds left to play, and Top has only got 2 HP. He's gonna get sprayed away again. And OBJ finishes off the job. It's 12 to 12 right now. And Giants, they are looking good on the CT side.
They definitely are. I'm trying to work out whether it's Navi Junior being weaker on this T side or actually Giants being stronger on their defensive half. And I think it is definitely Giants being stronger on their defensive half. Their setups have just been pretty flawless. We saw a lot of disjointed play whilst they were attacking, where they were going in one by one. They weren't trading off of each other. That's not been the case here whatsoever as we've switched sides. They've been playing a lot of crossfires, a lot of coordinated play. I imagine that that's Fox kind of stringing that one all together. But yeah, much better stuff. And Navi Junior, I mean, they just can't seem to close out these rounds. That was a 5 versus 3, remember, and it's gone pretty horribly wrong from there on out.
Exactly, and that's what makes this so difficult. Obviously, Navi, back foot, tech nines in hand, not a lot to play with going into round number 25. And with the flashbang on mid as well, there's a little bit of control in Giants. They seem to really be finding their confidence on the CT side.
Well, set up towards A, only the Tech Nines to work with. That single AK in the hands of Capacho. It's an interesting man to put it on, someone that hasn't really been fragging all too much, but as they go for this waterfall out of the apartment, Flash is going to reign over. Rizz up close and personal with the MP9, can't get a whole lot done before he's traded, but OBJ, well, the same certainly can't be said for him, spraying away every single man. And with that bomb down out in the open, they should just be able to finish off this one.
Ooh.
Maybe not.
That is a very fast frag, and PR missing the shots as well. This might be difficult as the Tech 9 connects onto the last, Jay. What happened right there? Navi Junior, they can't do it with rifles, but apparently with the pistol power, Giants, a bit of a blast from the past. That was 2015 style.
Yeah, definitely. You don't see a Tech 9 rush all too often nowadays, since they kind of gave it another little buff. It's a little bit more viable, but I think that just comes down to the pace in that scenario. We've seen Navi Junior playing a much slower game in many of these rounds, and it certainly cost them control. They've kind of been run down by the clock in many of these rounds, and yeah, just going for that pace, catching Giants off guard, really did them a lot of favors. And in these very late rounds, certainly important that they maintain this lead, as they absolutely do. Should be able to get themselves onto 14 here unless Giants cause an upset. And that's a very dangerous number to be posted on. Really no margin for error for this Portuguese side from here on out.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And 70 seconds left to play with. And the force buy, obviously, that would put Navi onto potentially even map point here, opponent's map pick. And that's where this series is really thrown into the air. We predicted that that might be coming a little earlier in the broadcast. Hopper into the apartments, wants this initial control, but up against the MP9, spray down through. Where's the trade here from Navi? It's incredibly late. There's only a Desert Eagle left to hold, and they need to put their foot on the gas right now against OBJ before this rotate comes in, and I think Navi might be playing this one a little too slow, a little too late. It's straight through these smokes. They need to check the corners. They've got multiple angles to worry about. But there come the frags in isolation. All of them there for Navi Junior. Giants try to snowball onwards, but that is perfect.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Those rotations were so quick there from the Giants. I thought they might be able to shut that one down and really cause complications and keep this one in contention. But instead, Gozpadarov picks up the pieces very nicely. And Navi Junior, they do put themselves onto 14 up against a full eco now. It's going to be match point. 3 chances to close more than likely. And the Giants, as I say, definitely after this one, no margin for error. They have to pull together all of these buys if they want to try and take this one to OT. And of course, remember, this is their map pick. So this is not going as planned.
I must say that Giants, they seem to have clutch potential, especially Fox. He's somebody who seems to pull up in the bigger moments when other people sometimes shut down. But that's not saying anything about Navi, remember. Bit, Gaspadarov, Munacy, those 3 players, they know how to show up as well, Josh.
Oh, absolutely. And they're really giving us a nice showcase of how and why they do so. Bit right now, he's this opening man over towards his B site, only the USPs to contend with. And as he swings around, this should be a good opportunity for him to find some feel-good frags. And it absolutely is. 2 snappy headshots, still anticipating Fox's position. And he's going to be able to pad his stats here in the 27th. as OBJ and rizz left to clutch at straws, hoping for maybe an exit frag here. As Navi Junior, this is going to be map point for them here on Inferno.
Certainly so, and they've got 3 of them as well. Tappity tap there on the B bomb site. Bit feels like a Morris dancer, and Giants have done absolutely no damage to talk of whatsoever. So Giants, they're 3 behind. They can obviously pull this one back with the rifles now, but it has to be flawless from here on out. And obviously, this was an unconvincing performance with the pistols. That flashbang's absolutely flawless, and it should only be 1 kill from rizz before he falls. 15 to 12 converted for Navi. Obviously, against the pistols, they've not lost one of these anti-ecos just yet.
I don't think an AWP is going to come out for this Giant side either. They really don't have the money for one, so it's just the rifles. And despite the fact that they went for a really shaky half buy and a full eco in the last, this isn't even a full investment. Massive lack of utility, only a single kit in the hands of rizz, which is very, very scary because you really have to keep track of where that kit's playing with these very long rotations on Inferno. You really can't afford to let it get lost. And no scoped rifle in play. I suppose the AUG might count as one, but definitely not that AWP that they really need in this scenario. Navi Junior, they might just be able to tip this one over the edge. They've been given a prime opportunity to do so.
Exactly. And I think that we're trying to counter it theoreticals for Giants to try and pull this one back. I think they need a convincing round to try and steal that Kasparov AWP if they're going to have it into the next, because it doesn't look like they'll be able to afford one, at least until round 30. Not checking the corners. That's Munacy the first to drop, and nobody there to trade off the back of it. That's not going to force any rotation off of the B bomb site. That'll keep the triple defense on A posted. And with the bomb now starting to commit towards the pointy letter, they've got out towards these smokes, and Giants, they're going to be content with that. They've got the map control on the A bomb site themselves, and if they can challenge Fox here, then there's absolutely an opportunity. But no, he sprays down 2, he shuts the door, and that's the A bomb site surely defended. Giant should be on to 13 here with rizz. Can he pick up the pieces? He absolutely can. We talked about the scoped rifle. It's the ult to do the damage, and Kasparov now needs to ponder saving with 25 seconds left.
Yeah, you mentioned at the start of this one that Giants really want to try and snatch that AWP away from Gospodarov, and that's exactly what they want to do here. I don't actually think they're going to hunt. They really don't have the money to reinvest in Gospodarov. He's actually going to throw it out the map. That's an interesting one. He certainly could have got away with saving this, as Giants aren't getting too aggressive for him. Instead, he's going to want to actually try and just make sure that they don't have it.
Watch this. Daylight robbery. Snatched.
Oh. Alrighty. Well, I think he's actually going to buy himself another AWP here. I would certainly expect him to. Maybe not.
No, he definitely will. Sure. Oh, really? That is incredibly surprising to me that he actually keeps the AUG in hand as well. Of course, he could have saved that AWP if he wanted it, but maybe that plays into Navi's mindset here, Josh. Maybe they just want to play with this 5-rifle setup to give themselves a bit more mobility. Remember, Kasparov is on 30 frags right now, and a lot of them are with the AWP on that first half, but many of which have been on that second half where he's been stuck with the rifles, those automatic AKs and AUGs now.
Maybe it's a new discovery for him. He goes, wait, there are other rifles with scope?
There's an AUG with 30 bullets. It fires fast.
No, you're pulling my leg.
This Black Friday, not April Fool.
Well, a lot of damage done from that utility very, very early on.
Maybe that's what he thinks, Josh. Maybe he thinks it's a Black Friday deal. He's like, what? There's a AWP in the server, which is $3,000?
Maybe. But yeah, as we said before, very, very surprising that he doesn't actually opt for that secondary AWP investment. Giants certainly can't afford one of their own. Maybe he just wants that versatility of actually having an automatic rifle. In the last round, he was pretty much out of the action because his teammates took the early gunfight and he couldn't support. Here in the 29th, could be the final round if this B take's successful. Not a lot of utility left for the Giants as well to keep this one away.
And nopeej towards the back of this B bomb site. Navi Junior, low HP on Bit and Munacy. They failed to trade evenly in a lot of these situations. With AKs primed and ready and the rotate already coming through, Giants are practically going to have 4 players on top of this B bomb site before the flashes come in. Quick kills aided by the utility, and this is surely not even trading. Low HP, and they don't spot the final man. It's PR to do the damage there. And I hate to use a technical term, Jay, but this looks bad for Navi.
That technical term, bad. Yeah, I agree. I think it's Tech 9 time. I think get out those sort of fast-running gun weapons and try and go for a quick hit. That's what worked last time. Here in the 30th, very, very little to work with. And Giants, they might just be able to take this one to OT.
Certainly could do. I think this is an inexcusable round to lose. If we don't go to overtime here to kick off our wildcard tournament, don't know what Giants are doing in this matchup. I'm sure it'll be a 2-0 if this one is converted. They need to close out this map if they've got any chance. This is a single elimination bracket. M and J, Navi Junior, they're going towards A, and Giants know that it's coming in. This should surely be a fake opportunity. If Navi could see what we could, then they would surely be going back to B, but fast kills, it's surely the shutdown. 3-1 trade. There's no peach. He is still roaming. It will be OT, Josh. We go the absolute distance in our first map of this wild card.
Oh, I would expect nothing less. It seems to be, I don't know, a blessing or a curse, or maybe it's a blessing and a curse, because we seem to see a hell of a lot of OTs in many of these games. And right now, opening one of the day, overtime. As you mentioned before, if Navi Junior can tip this one over the edge, they're in a prime position to take this series 2-0. If Giants can do so, then it's back in contention. Then there's a real opportunity for them to snatch this one away. Either way, we're definitely expecting this one to be an incredibly close series. And here in this first round of OT, all the money to work with, and not a single man on the servers going for that AWP, which is just interesting, especially on a map like Inferno.
Yeah, it's because they're playing MR3, $10,000 here, obviously going heavy with the AWPs in the first round, obviously leaves you without cash going into the next two if you lose it, and that's obviously an awkward position to be put in. If Giants win one round here, I expect them to get out the sniper rifle on at least one player. That's if he drops, perhaps. Maybe if Fox is the only man to fall, then you would go for that investment. Navi Junior, though, they concede the first frag and 90 plus damage onto Munacy, and as they point into the A bomb site, OBJ, he is ready and waiting off the back of the flashbang. Fast kill, traded up. Munacy's there to find the frags, and it is a 3 versus 3 M&J despite the health deficit for Navi Junior. They still need to push into a fortified A bomb site, and through the flashbang, Fox, he gets traded also. That's a fast kill, and as the smokes go away, bomb can go down, and Capacho and Munacy here can create a crossfire inside the pit. If Capacho keeps on holding this angle for many more seconds, of course, through the apartments, that's where he'll get taken, but he changes his diversion, and there's the flick upwards. Instantly eliminated, and now both of these players are low health against nopeej. He needs to find both of these kills right now, and he knows where Capacho's playing from. Both of the players exposed, but that'll be Navi Junior taking the first in OT.
They play that absolutely perfectly after a real shaky start to the round. They pick up the pieces beautifully, and I'm really starting to get concerned for Giants here, because you've got to remember, okay, going into overtime, Navi Junior are going to get to play a whole overtime half on their CT side, which was the significantly stronger side. So if Giants can't take this next round, they're going to be at a massive disadvantage, and they'll have to try and close it out on that attacking half, which really isn't a strong point for them. Fox falling away with that AWP, and a nice aggressive response here from Navi Junior.
And that's a fast headshot. I don't think if Bit hits that, then they're probably out of luck, to be perfectly honest. And, oh, by the way, Bit, he's got the highest headshot percentage on the server, and just Navi Junior in general, 70% averaging, and, well, that's another nice snappy one. That's what he's kind of known for, notorious for in this CIS scene. And another fast one, low HP, but he doesn't care. And now Fox with the AWP needs to be careful where he treads, otherwise it'll be Navi Junior going hunting for perhaps the final time as the headshots come in. Fox might lose this AWP coming into the last, and you see, Josh, this money, it's crushed.
Absolutely, especially with Fox going for that AWP investment. There's no money left for them to work with. Navi Junior might have a flawless T half here in overtime, which is really just a big slap in the face, isn't it? It's yeah, we'll let you pull it all the way back to OT, and then we're just gonna wreck you. It's a weird one. I don't know why they didn't do this before. I think you just kind of get that lifeline adrenaline. Once you do go into overtime, you're like, okay, we have to step this one up a notch. And he's especially going across onto that CT side in the second half of OT. They're going to be super, super confident. I see very, very little chance of Giants clawing their way back into this one. And that is going to be a big loss to take here in the opening series of the EDC wildcard.
And remember when you go down in that first half, it was 10-5 for Navi Junior, and you finally make that comeback, and then you all fall to pieces in OT. That's gotta, yeah, really, like, you're doing the devil's work with your mentality at that point. You're obviously going to be down in the dumps, and well, how do they really recover? I think that's the kind of signature of a big team who can really thrive in a single elimination bracket. Obviously, if you're playing a Swiss system, you've got loads of best of threes to play with. You don't even have to be worried about losing a lot of the time. And realistically, this is much higher pace, higher impact. Pop up, aggressive angle. Wants to peek into Boiler. This hasn't been massively successful, especially as OBJ is playing a very passive angle here. AK-47 chipping through, but oh, there's the trade inwards. They need to now deal with OBJ, who's holding down the line, even trading once again. 2 versus 2, as this will be the full rotate. The Famas gets absolutely pounded there by Manasi, as the B bomb site, it's been taken. 30 seconds left to play with, and PR Josh, he's been outmaneuvered. Wants to switch back to the AK-47 and make this retake work. But with only 20 seconds on the board, that bomb needs to go down right now. No playing about here for Navi Junior, as they want to secure their 18th on the board. AK double flashbang, but I think he'll be using the element of surprise, as he does sneak down below Munacy. That's a tough angle to take, as he does get his head shot off there in the trade. It's 18-15, a flawless half, and a long time coming if you ask me for Navi.
Absolutely, yeah. I really don't know how they've managed to just pull 3 in a row like that. It really seemed to just come out of nowhere, but much, much stronger CS. And Giants right now, they've got to be scared. They had a really weak T side. Navi Junior, quite the opposite on their CT half, especially with Gospadarov with this AWP in hand. And you've got to remember, not only did they have a 10-5 half, but actually they were 8-2 on the buy rounds too, because they lost the first 3 off the back of the pistol, and then they just had a complete whitewash after that with all of these buy rounds, and especially going into overtime where they've got all the weapons to work with. This becomes very, very dangerous.
Exactly, and I think that at this point as well, you've just got to kind of take the score line out of the equation and really just forget about it at this point. I think that the Giants, you need to forget. Remember, they were 3 rounds down before as well, so this is a pretty identical situation to the one that they were in regulation, and that was up against the majority of gun rounds as well. Only the slight force at the end, so very similar in the configurations here for Giants to pull this one back to OT2.
Only one needed here for Navi Junior to tip this one over the edge, and well, it only has to be one of the next 3 Giants, all the tools to work with. Fox with that AWP in hand. Look at all of this utility expended early. That bottom banana smoke is going to give Navi Junior that leg room that they do need. And Topa taking a very aggressive, very, very nice angle. Giants could certainly fall into this trap if they do aggress into banana later in the round.
Yeah, Money's got a really powerful angle here, made more negligible by the smoke grenade, and I think he was expecting a little bit of help right there, MNJ. He finds 1 kill, that's maybe lucky anyway, before getting roasted and toasted alive. Leaving Gaspadarov on the corner, 34 frags for him. Remember, that was 3-0 in regulation. In all 30 rounds, he's averaging 1 per opening opportunity, and a lot of those quick frags as well, so as the trades do come in, of course, 4 versus 4, and that kind of favors the Giants at this point.
It absolutely does, especially look at their position right now, creeping around Archway Capacho. He's going to be able to sit. He's opening fights, and a double spray down is exactly what the doctor ordered. He's going to be able to relay this information too as the rotations come in. Topa, he's got it all on his hands here on the B-bomb site to hold on to.
And they have no idea that he's here, so even with the HE through, that's going to give them a slight advantage, but taking the fight with the AWP, obviously health doesn't matter at that point. It's the rotate already through, and Fox needs to find everybody, and it is going to happen, M&J. Just like that, it comes to a close, and Navi Junior, they find themselves one